Alright, so the second part of doing our dubstep track is where we're going to do bass. And for doing the bass, I kind of like to just take a copy of just the kick and the snare. In fact, one thing that I find actually helps is to get rid of all the extra drum hits, or actually make the copy before you add any extra drum hits, because then you just have a basic template, and then you can go in and tweak things later to make it conform a little bit better to your drum hits, or just, keep it kind of easier to map out what you're going to put in. Okay, and of course there's tons of different ways that you can do your bass. You can literally just use a bass loop like this and then throw an LFO filter on it. This is the one I like to use because it's simple. And then basically, if you want to do something like this, basically, how I would do it is to drag it up here, and then you could just make like 2 or 3 copies of this, and then just you put different LFO and then chop it up into bits. For example, this slide right here where it goes down into really nice sub bass. Okay, that's something that you could just chop that and then use that for one bit, and then maybe use MIDI to make up a regular bass line, and then use this as something, say, right towards the end, so that it slides around, and then we can use MIDI, because that is where, unfortunately, Music Studio tends to fall down, is its ability to work with synth in pretty much any form. It isn't bad, and it does have envelopes for pitch shifting and other things, so it isn't completely without automation or anything. It's not an easy program to use compared to some of the others. It doesn't have as good a quality stuff in it. Let's go ahead and use there's the Itchy synth that are the free VSTI by Itchy for doing dubstep. I tend to use those probably too much. Superwave is interesting. Go ahead and use that. It's got some nice options. Okay, and let's just go ahead and find us a nice sorry, that's probably very loud. giving us a nice TARDIS bass. You know what, I honestly don't feel like screwing around with this, so I'm just going to do it the easy way that I prefer to do it, which is the sine wave for the sub bass. Alrighty. So, you want to do some just straight up dub type stuff. The easiest way to do that is to get in nice and close and to do something like this. Go ahead and duplicate that, and we're going to put it on channel 2, and we're going to make that a saw wave and put it up an octave. Actually, the best way to do the bass, if you want to do more dirty sounding bass, would be to, and the way I would do it is to insert another soft synth and just go ahead and put it on a square wave, and then duplicate that and put it back on. So we want channel 3. Put it on saw wave. So we've got the up here we've got the sine wave that's doing our sub bass, and then we've got this for the mid-range stuff if you want to do more bro step. Now if you want to do something that's almost pure old school dub, you don't need any other synth, just use the sine wave. And, you know, maybe one extra synth half an octave higher or something like that, just to give you a little bit more of a sound to it, so it's not just boom, you know, so it's not just the sub. But I mean, if you want to just do pure dub, old school dub step, then a sine wave can work for you real well. So how you're going to get that dirty sound is pretty simple. You just distort the fuck out of it, basically. Or, I mean, there's tons of different ways that you can do it. Let's see. Where's such a good playing distortion. Probably going to need to turn that down. And let's just loop right in that area so we can just keep with what we've got so far. Put the LFO filter on it. It's really not all that hard to do some basic dubstep bass. You know, you don't have to put that LFO on there. I'd only put that on there because it kind of gives it that wah 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 type, or the, well, not the wah wah, you know, like Skrillex has that talking thing, but it does give it the, it's that slight change to the sound. But going a little bit more old school, just dub style with some mid-range added on in the more modern style, you know, I'm fine with actually drawing in my you know, the beat, you know, the notes, instead of just relying on that filter to wub it for me. That sounded really silly, but what the hell. Alrighty then. What was I going to do? I've forgotten. Oh yeah, format filter. Is that it right here? Yeah. It says a free VST effect I came across called Format Bank. And that one allows you to do some, you know, I just showed you all the presets, so if you really like that wah wah type thing, a format filter like that can get some interesting effects for you. Let's say I would like to go in and do something a little funky with, say, one of these. I can go in and put in, say, a pitch bend envelope right here, and obviously we don't want that mess around. Let's say we're gonna go up with this. It's a subtle change, but if you do that on just, say, every third or fourth bar of this, we can do that, or do a slightly different version of it, go down on the next, loop it, and then go down on the next one, and then, say, spike it a couple of times so it goes wow wow, little things like that, wonderful for breaking up things from keeping them a little too repetitive. In fact, do the same thing right here, and we go down instead, so you end up with, they're detuning away from each other, which gives it a really weird kind of feeling. Of course, let's say right here at the end we want something that'll really kind of go right into the next part of the loop, so we're going to put that in, and then we're going to raise it up pretty high. Okay, that was a little too pronounced. A little too fast, I think. Let's back it up here. Try it from there. Still way too pronounced. Let's try about half that and put it back where it was. Something about that that's not quite working for my ears. Oh, sorry if I'm torturing yours with messing around with this stuff. But yeah, but there's some good examples of things that you can do for your bass to help break it up. Now, if you want to do some glitchy type stuff, like that fidgety Skrillex type stuff, if that's what you're into, that's what you're looking for, we also have a nice free plugin called TB Blue Glitch. Although I usually, for doing bass stuff, I usually open up a new instance of, or not a new instance of Acid, but I'll save what I'm working on, and then I'll say make a loop, a wave file loop of the bass, and then use this on it. Let's add. Basically what this does is that it gives you all sorts of different things like a stretcher, a delay, gator, crusher, reverser, shuffler, retrigger, modulator, tape stop effect. And then randomizes it, or you can randomize it. Basically we're going to, well in this case we can just use chosen effect 1 and randomize both. just going to get rid of some of this fluff in here, because all we're really after is that tape stop effect in this case. So we can go ahead and play that. Oops, forgot to disable transport. You have to turn that on so it'll work. Alright. Now you see what I mean? The results can vary widely, so that's why I prefer to use this effect as something, and then I actually make it do what I want it to do. You know, I work at it until I get a sound I like, and then I can just create a loop, a wave file loop out of that, and then just drop it in to the regular bass, or along with the rest of the bass and everything else. So, right now, you basically know everything you need to make the elements of the track that are important, which is your beat and your bass, because pretty much everything else is secondary. You know, especially when it comes to like melodies and stuff. As for doing a drop, also not all that hard. Basically, what you might want to do for a drop is you could have, say, a second sine wave, and then just have, because it has a volume control over here, in the case of this program, I mean, you could have a second instance of whatever synth you're wanting to use for your bass, and then just turn it up. You know, say that if, when you have this bass playing and you have a melody playing and everything, you're hitting with maybe 6 headroom. You know, most mastering studios want at least 4 or 5, so just going ahead and using a second instance of the bass or an envelope or something to crank it up an extra decibel level will give it just that little extra oomph when you go into your drop. As for arranging a drop, that's also pretty simple. Basically what you want to do is take out your kick drum. You don't have to take out the kick drum, but that helps. And do something along the lines of, well, let me pause this and I'll kind of arrange this into a little bit of a track for you. Well, no, this is supposed to be a tutorial on how to show you, or showing you how to do all this stuff. I'm getting ahead of myself, I guess. So now we have the basic elements. I'm going to go ahead and on the next video I'll show you arrangement, kind of sort of quick and easy arrangement that you can use and then build on. Okay, so that's the end of this video, so please rate it if you found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep up to date on other videos, songs I put out, information of my albums, all that sort of stuff, new tutorials, all that good junk. And please stop by my website. I'll be putting a link in the more info right below the video. Leave a comment if you want. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.